and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lacy. In addition to not having Damian Lillard, the Bucks will be without fellow star Giannis Antetokounmpo tonight against the Nuggets due to a sprained left foot. Lillard's sidelined indefinitely with a blood clot in his right calf. A tough spot for Milwaukee, but now by no means is its season over, says ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
I feel like every series that they're going to go into, starting in the first round, they're going to be the underdogs. And disrespecting Dame and Giannis and calling them the underdogs is going to light a fire up under their that the league can't handle. I still have Boston winning the Eastern Conference. Yeah. But Dame comes back with Giannis as the underdogs. They're my dark horse in the Eastern Conference to come out.
Bucks do have a slight lead on Detroit for 5th in the East. LeBron James probable for the Lakers against the Pacers tonight. 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio and ESPN still dealing with a groin issue. Celtics list Jason Tatum as doubtful in Phoenix with a sprained left ankle. 10 Eastern, ESPN. NFL's competition committee recommended making the dynamic kickoff rule permanent and moving touchbacks to the 35-yard line in hopes of generating more returns.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, it's opening day, and my Yankees will be without a lot of big names, but I'll tell you why I'm still excited for the upcoming season. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Off and running after further review here on a Wednesday presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Musso in for Moscona. I'll explain why momentarily. Alondra Villarreal and Paul O'Neill along for the ride as well. Happy to have you here on this Wednesday afternoon, however you may be listening to us, whether radio, the app, of course, the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Smash the like button if you have not already. I'm in today for Scone. Scone had meetings wall to wall today, and one of them that he had to be in happened to be at this time. So I'm here to drive you home here from 3 to 6 on this Wednesday, and we have a great show lined up. LSU Pro Day taking place over at the indoor facility. Ross Jackson will be here in the 5 o'clock hour. He was there. He'll give us the complete rundown on that. I'll give you a few updates that have trickled out here to start the show. The Saints, another top 30 visit. This one again with an offensive tackle. LSU baseball, they run rule ULL. Jay Johnson meets with the media today and talks the Mississippi State series and his starting rotation. And also we'll get a preview on the Bulldogs. Robbie Faulk, who does a great job covering Mississippi State, will be here at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. So we have a ton to get to here today, and I'm fired up to do so. We'll begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
And as I said, we'll start with just a few updates that trickled out from LSU's Pro Day. Ross Jackson will be here in the 5 o'clock hour to give us much more insight as he was boots on the ground there, and he'll have his write-ups and everything up at louisianasports.net. But you couldn't really be on Twitter today and not notice some of what came out of the day for LSU. And there's 4 guys in particular that I really want to kind of hone in on. And we're going to start with Josh Williams. It might not be where you thought I was going to go, but yeah, we're going to start with Josh Williams because Josh Williams had some of the most eye-popping numbers to come out of LSU's Pro Day. And that's a guy who was relatively, I don't want to say unknown, but just wasn't being talked about a lot when it comes to the NFL draft, right? I mean, you have Will Campbell, you have Mason Taylor at LSU, you have the 3 other offensive linemen, Emory Jones, Garrett Dellinger, Miles Frazier, the two ends. I mean, Braden Swenson's been getting a lot of love, right, lately. And Josh Williams kind of just, off to the side. Kind of like he's been treated for most of his career. And what does that guy do? He just keeps going and fighting and scratching and clawing and earning everything that he's ever been given. And my goodness, did he do that on Pro Day. To kind of illustrate the just off to the side, no one really talking, when I started seeing the numbers come out for Josh Williams today, I was like, okay, wait, what kind of draft grade does anybody have on him? And I started searching and searching and searching. And the only one I could find came from something called NFL Draft Buzz Grade. An NFL Draft Buzz Grade, look, I'm sure they do great work and they research a lot, has Josh Williams as the number 52 running back and the number 486 overall player in the 2025 NFL Draft. Today, Josh Williams turned in a 4.45 40-yard dash, which is the fastest at LSU's Pro Day. He turned in a 10'2" broad jump, which is explosive, and rep 225 on the bench 23 times. And, oh yeah, I forgot about the vertical jump. Josh Williams, speaking of explosive, 42 inches on the vertical jump today. For some context, Josh Williams at 5'9", mind you, 42-inch vert, would rank number 2 overall at the 2025 NFL Combine and number 3 by a running back at any NFL Combine. LSU Football on Twitter, giving you that context, Todd Polietz notes that the 42-inch vertical jump ties the LSU mark at Pro Day, records back since 2007. Y'all, I'm not sitting here telling you that Josh Williams is about to, be a first-round draft pick. We know that's not going to happen. But after that performance, after not getting invited to the NFL Combine, and then putting on that performance at LSU's Pro Day in front of all these NFL scouts and setting marks that would have ranked second overall at the Combine or at any Combine or any of those things, he's going to move up boards 100%. And I think that's awesome. And he might have played his way into the draft today at LSU's Pro Day. So massive tip of the hat to Josh Williams. Just an awesome day for him. Will Campbell, the big news there, arm size, right? Arm length. Will Campbell's arms grew, y'all. Apparently, since the Combine, 32 5/8 inch at the Combine. Today at LSU's Pro Day, only thing he did, by the way, 33 inches. Right there at the threshold that you want. It's easy to be like, it's LSU's Pro Day. Of course that's what happened, right? Will Campbell, his arms grew in 2.5 weeks or whatnot. No, that's not what happened. Will Campbell addressed this himself. When he met with the media after, was he and others felt the marks and the measurements of the Combine were off. They were incorrect. And it wasn't just his. It was others. So at LSU's Pro Day, he had the NFL scouts there measure his arms, and it came out 33 inches. So, look, there's been a lot of talk with Campbell, tackle, guard, whatnot. That's a huge check mark for him and certain teams that value that kind of thing. Him, now checking in at 33 inches. For what it's worth, Campbell also said of all the teams that he's talked about, there have been two that have talked to him about playing guard, but both of those teams are set at tackle, which is the reason why. All the other conversations he's had have been about playing left tackle in the National Football League. Mason Taylor, wanted to throw him out there because, again, guy who didn't work out at the Combine, was there, didn't work out at the Combine, set some marks today, and showed off the athleticism and the strength. Everything that we always talk about that makes Mason Taylor the complete tight end was on full display at LSU's Pro Day on Wednesday. 4.65 40, which is very impressive for Mason Taylor. For what it's worth, that would have ranked second out of any tight end at the Combine in 2025. And then how about 28 reps on the bench, which also would have registered second out of any tight end at the Combine. So a big day for Mason Taylor as well. Kyron Lacy, this was interesting for a few reasons. Obviously, the legal troubles that have surrounded Lacy here over the last few months with the fatal car accident. Lacy missed the Senior Bowl. He missed the Combine. He was in attendance and participating in LSU's Pro Day. 4.5 140 for Lacy, a 32-inch vertical. So, look, Kyron Lacy, speaking of draft grades, went and looked up some on him, found plenty more than we did on Josh Williams. Hold on, I have to pull it back up. Sorry. And I lost it. There it is. Found it. Pro Football Focus had him as a top 300 guy in the draft, a top 40 wide receiver. So it's just one. And then, of course, I mean, that was kind of the consensus throughout. Even our guys at NFL Draft Buzz had him top 300 and top 30 wide out. The thing that's going to be interesting there is more the interviews that he ends up having with teams and the legal situation and how that goes and what that could potentially cost him in the draft. But to see him out there is a statement from him that he's able to go participate at LSU's Pro Day, and he turned in some pretty respectable numbers. I mean, at 6'2", 210, 4.5 40 is really good. And, the vertical jump, that's 36 inches. Yeah, I mean, you're going to, it's kind of what you expect. So, all in all, successful day for many out there at LSU's Pro Day. Again, Ross Jackson, he'll be here at 5:15. He'll give us much more in-depth on what he saw, what the buzz was around with all the other media and the scouts at LSU's Pro Day. The Saints contingent that was there that did include Mickey Loomis. Garrett Nussmeier threw to his receivers. So Nussmeier with a little bit of an early audition for the scouts and GMs and everybody in attendance. How did Nuss look throwing the football? And we'll get a thought there from Ross and just, all his standouts. And it's important to note, the guys who really, are on the board for the Saints are Campbell and Taylor. Ross, I think in his most recent mock draft at LouisianaSports.net, had Taylor to the Saints. So, kind of what the Saints brass thought. Guys they were looking at, guys they could be looking at. All in all, there were a couple other pro days around. Ohio State definitely had a Saints contingent. We know that. And Boise State, running backs coach Joel Thomas was up at Boise Pro Day. See if Ross has heard anything that's trickled out of those. We'll do all that at 5:15 with Ross Jackson. All right, we are going to grab a break here, come back on the other side, talk some New Orleans Saints. Another top 30 visit revealed for the Saints. It's at a position of need. We'll tell you about that and the player next here on AFR.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888-8888. It's all eights. 888-8888. I don't even need to give you the area code because no matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter. Just dial 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon does an awesome job, man. He's a great person. They've been so invested in our communities with all the charitable and service work that they do. They give back into the communities that they represent, no matter what time of year. If it's the bike giveaway for kids around Christmas time, if it's the laptop giveaway around back to school time, if it's the charitable work they do during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're always involved in the community. We tell you all the time, of course, about the G team and what Gordon's done with NIL and the opportunities that he's afforded student athletes. Just a great, great community partner. If you've been injured, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You know, when we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding. And now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their number one product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes $1 from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take $1 until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at ReliefWindows.com.
All right, we're inside of a month now for the NFL draft. Actually, here, Wednesday, the 26th of March, is a month from day 3 of the NFL draft. So, a month from now, we'll be fully underway there. This is when you're going to see, obviously, a lot of time with the visits, the top 30 visits, teams going out to dinner, all those things. And we told you earlier in the week, the Saints had a large contingency at Cam Ward's Pro Day on Monday, and then also had dinner with Quinn Ewers that night. Just yesterday, we talked about 2 top 30 visits with linebacker Nick Martin out of Oklahoma State, and then offensive tackle Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota. I've been struggling pronouncing that kid's name all day, or not even just pronouncing it, remembering it, and I've been asking Paul, and when I said it correctly there, Paul just nodded. Today, there's another one that we want to kind of dive into. And it's again on the offensive line, and it's again at offensive tackle. This is Josh Conerly Jr. from Oregon, top 30 visit with the New Orleans Saints. And, you know, it's quite honestly, it's kind of frustrating to look at the New Orleans Saints, and I mean a lot of different ways, but in this one in particular, where you're like, man, offensive tackle again. It feels like offensive tackle has been a need for the Saints for the better part of a decade. And actually, kind of has. When you look back at the last 10 drafts, the Saints have taken an offensive tackle, at least one, in 6 out of those 10 drafts. And now it would make sense that they're set to do so here again. Just look at it. You've got 4 right now. 4. Pinion and Fuanga, who obviously started for you a year ago, left tackle, right tackle. Josiah Ezram and Landon Young. That's that. It's absolutely a need. And you haven't brought one in free agency. So it's absolutely a need in the draft. So why you see so far, out of their top 30 visits, the few that they've scheduled and completed, 2 of them already have been offensive tackles. And again, not just in the last 10 drafts, since Mickey Loomis has been the general manager of the New Orleans Saints, it's been a position they target frequently in the draft because, look, it's one of those positions, right? You have to find a franchise left tackle, you need a franchise quarterback, and you need your franchise shutdown cornerback on the outside on the defense. So it makes sense that you target it a lot. Of the 23 drafts that Mickey Loomis has headed up for the Saints as GM, they've taken a tackle in 13 of them. So it would make a lot of sense, given your history, the importance of the position in the NFL, and your need for it, at least in a depth perspective, that the Saints are in the market for offensive tackle again here in the 2025 NFL Draft. So today we focus in on Josh Conerly. Played his ball at Oregon. A little bit more of a backstory on him. In 2022, played all 13 games. That was reserve special teams role. 2023 at Oregon, started all 14 games at left tackle. Honorable mention, all Pac-12. Of course, now into year 3, Oregon makes the move into the Big Ten. Again, Conerly, all 14 games at left tackle. First team all Big Ten. Third team All-American by the Associated Press. He really saw production and his stock rise here in his final season. It's interesting when you look at him because it's depending on whose draft report or draft grade or anything that you're reading, certain people think he can play tackle or guard at the next level. Others say he just sticks at tackle. The versatility is intriguing because obviously, look, the Saints need help at guard as well. I mean, you saw them bring in Radins from the Titans in free agency. You obviously have Cesar Ruiz, but there's been plenty of talk about potentially kicking Trevor Penning down into the guard position. Obviously, Lucas Patrick is off, to a different team here in free agency. He signed with Cincinnati. And Nick Saldivari just hadn't really worked out. So there's need all along there. So a guy, again, depending on whose report you read, Conerly's a guy who can also potentially offer you versatility. When you look at his performance at the Combine, he checked in 6'5", 311, 33.5-inch arms, which we know is incredibly important for a tackle, and really has performed well athletically, which we know is huge for the Saints. We obviously make a joke about the relative athletic score. Hell, we did that in both of our top 30 segments a day ago, and it was funny, but 8.7. I mean, 8.7 out of 10 is the relative athletic score for Conerly. He was at the Senior Bowl, so he automatically just checks those 2 boxes for the Saints as well. But I'll tell you what's super encouraging because, again, reading through draft reports, the thing that you see most with him is second round. That's the most common projection for Conerly, second round. And accompanied in all of those reports are development. He's raw, he's young, needs a little bit more development, eventually develops into a starting player for you. And that's one of the reasons I really like this potential addition for the Saints. You can address a position of need. You don't have to do it in the first round. Now, if you want to, by all means, go ahead. Like if Will Campbell's right there at number 9 and there hadn't been a tackle taken, you have your pick, and you want to address that position again in the first round of 9, I mean, sure. Why not? It's, the Saints get they get into this mode where best available is normally sometimes their approach in the draft. Will Campbell's your best available player there at 9. You're taking best available. I mean, by all means, go ahead. But ultimately, you like what you saw from Taliesin Fuanga a year ago at left tackle. When a lot of people thought he was going to end up playing guard at the next level, Saints take him as tackle, and he was awesome as a rookie. While Trevor Penning still has some growing to do at the position, he acquitted himself well on the outside at right tackle, much better than he did at left. So I think you feel comfortable, maybe not great, maybe not to where you're just like, oh, we're rolling with it, but I think you feel comfortable at tackle right now if you're the Saints. So you look at a guy like Conerly, okay, you can take him in the second round, bolster a position of need with depth, and you have a really raw, talented player who, with the right development, could be ready his second year to step in. If it doesn't work with Fuanga or Penning here as they go into, well, in Fuanga's case, his second year into the NFL, and Penning, this is year 3, I believe, 2022 draft, year 4, or no, 23 draft. So yeah, year 3. I like that. But it's interesting as well because, like, the flip side of that coin is, while it's like, oh, there's a lot of development, who's the best edge rusher in the NFL draft in 2025? Who? It's Abdul Carter from Penn State. Had some injury issues, sure, whatever. Like, that guy probably should be the first overall pick in this year's draft. Well, Oregon and Penn State played each other in the Big Ten Championship. Josh Conerly matched up against Abdul Carter all game long. And he stonewalled him. 0 pressures. Goose egg. 0 pressures allowed by Conerly up against Abdul Carter in the Big Ten Championship game. So, again, development maybe still needs to take place. But the flip side of that coin is you have great tape, and tape don't lie, from that kid going up against the best edge rusher and arguably the best player in the draft and dominating him. That speaks volumes. So all in all, I love this idea for the New Orleans Saints. For every reason that we just laid out. The success he's already shown, the development that still needs to take place, that you could get him potentially in the second round, have him sit for a year, work in your system, and then maybe be ready to assume one of the roles on your offensive line in 2026. Whether that be at tackle or maybe even potentially inside at guard. I would be A-okay with this pick for the New Orleans Saints. And again, he checks a lot of their boxes, the athleticism and all of that. And that, again, the athleticism speaks to his ability already on the outside at tackle, but it can also speak to versatility. So Josh Conerly, just another one, another top 30 visit for the New Orleans Saints. He's an offensive tackle out of Oregon, coming off his most productive year where he was a third-team All-American and all first-team Big Ten. So, look, man, that's a trenches league. And that guy, in his first year in it, took the biggest jump of his career. We'll see what comes of it. But the Saints did have, or will have, a top 30 visit with Oregon offensive tackle Josh Conerly Jr. All right, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. We'll, of course, go around the SEC, and a broadcaster who I know is very, very near and dear to the hearts of many here in Baton Rouge and SEC country has announced his retirement. We'll talk about that as well next here on AFR.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel. Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Brought to you by Evermore, all natural, great tasting water. When you uncap a bottle of Evermore, that's the first time the product touches air. It's incredible. It's a natural well. It's natural artesian water. It's a well. It's on the North Shore. I went to their bottling facility. When you pull up on the left, you'll see the well is right there. They've drilled deep into the earth. They pipe it out right into their filters and their filtration system. Nothing is added. Nothing is extracted. It is completely pure from the earth water. So if you want a healthier option, if you want a healthier lifestyle, something healthier for your children, maybe you're an athlete that wants a superior form of hydration, Evermore, EVAMOR. If you notice, go to their website, you'll see Dak Prescott is one of their chief spokespeople. I mean, starting NFL quarterback is vouching for it. Check it out at great local retailers or order on their website at EVAMOR.com, Evermore.com, Evermore.com.
Wednesday edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Rolling along here. Musso in for Moscona today. Scone back tomorrow. Just had some meetings that he had to attend to, and one of them happened to be right now during the show. So I'm here. We'll go around the SEC here momentarily. Still plenty to get to. May have seen this news earlier. Gary Danielson has announced that he will retire as CBS Sports lead college football analyst following the 2025 season. Charles Davis will succeed Danielson beginning in 2026. Of course, less consequential for everyone here now because CBS now has the rights to the Big Ten and no longer the SEC. But obviously, Gary Danielson has been a very polarizing figure to many here in Baton Rouge and just across the Southeastern Conference as well. So it's noteworthy to go ahead and talk about this. Gary, first of all, 36 years in television, which is incredible. Has been with CBS since 2006. And while I understand everyone's feelings toward Gary Danielson here, it's never really made a whole bunch of sense to me. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say there were days that Saturdays that I was just like, God, stop. Just stop. Right? I mean, we all have that. So like I said, I understand. But y'all, Gary Danielson's really good at his job and just always has been. That's a really hard job to be able to see the play, diagnose it all in that short amount of time, and be able to explain it succinctly and, again, in a short amount of time and clearly. And not easy to do. I mean, you saw Tom Brady struggle at times with that in his first season doing the NFL on Fox. Gary Danielson has done that really, really well for 36 years. He's very good at what he does. I understand all the, he had negative things to say about LSU. All right. That's just a fan perspective. Y'all, Alabama fans don't like Gary Danielson because they thought he had negative things to say about Alabama, which is laughable to anybody here. Right? I mean, you're a fan. You're highly invested into a tight game on a Saturday in your league. You love your team. He's eventually going to have to say something bad about your team, and that's going to piss you off. That's just part of fandom. Or you're playing the team that has dominated college football for the better part of a decade. He's probably going to say some pretty nice things about them. The other part of this is we had Gary Danielson on the show. Matt did at SEC Media Days a few years ago. It was when the SEC was doing their final year. He was delightful. Like, he just really was. And I'll say this, too. For me, it hits home a little bit because Gary and Vern, for the better part of my years growing up watching LSU football, were the voice of the SEC on CBS. Got a little bit of Todd Blackledge in there at the beginning, right? In the early 04, 05, like 03, when I really kind of start remembering things and watching the games. Got a little bit of Todd Blackledge with Vern in there. And by the way, Todd's Taste of the Town. No, was he on ESPN and not CBS? Still one of, if not the greatest in-game college football segments ever. Loved it. Anyway, those were the voices. And now with Vern retired and then Gary, that does kind of hit home a little bit where it's like, man, that's for your, formative years watching college football. Those were the guys bringing it to you. It's how a lot of you felt with Keith Jackson or Brent Musburger. So that part of it will be different. Tuning in on a Saturday, even though it's the Big Ten and who really cares, but tuning in on a Saturday and not hearing that familiar voice, it will be different. Just like it was honestly different for all of us this season watching the SEC on ABC for the first time. And not hearing the same, right? You heard different commentators around, whether it was Joe Tess or McDonough and McElroy. Like there was just, it's different. And this will be different too. So Gary Danielson, I mean, obviously, look, incredible career that he had. 36 years in television. You don't stick around that long if you aren't good. And He was very good and very good at a tough job. Now he'll enjoy retirement. So, look, wish him the best. Again, Charles Davis will succeed him. And, the Big Ten on CBS will roll along, and not many of us will probably pay too much attention because we're going to watch the SEC because it's the best conference in college football, and that's where our team plays and all of those things. But because of his, influence there for so long is noteworthy to see Gary Danielson hang it up and retire. So, enjoy retirement. I'm sure all of you still loathe him. And nothing that I said is going to change your mind, and that's fine. I wasn't really out to change your mind. I don't care if you like Gary Danielson or not. It was always just kind of like, I don't want to say laughable either. It's just like, well, of course he has. I mean, he's going to say bad things or not. I'll tell you this, though. The Auburn game in 2010, that was probably the time I was just like, Gary, stop. Leave me alone. Because they wouldn't stop replaying that damn Cam Newton run where he accelerated past Patrick Peterson. I mean, incredible feat of athleticism by Cam. Incredible moment in that ball game. But they would not leave it alone. But again, it was the defining moment in the game. But yeah, high school Musso was at his wit's end at that point in the game with Vern and Gary. Just in CBS constantly replaying that. They replayed that run about as many. Like, if you add up the time that they replayed that run, it might actually equal like 2 commercial breaks that CBS takes during the games. So we've all been there. But Gary Danielson retiring after this season. 2025 will be his last on the mic for CBS. All right, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Georgia Bulldogs.
A couple stories here involving Georgia football. Kirby Smart announces that redshirt freshman offensive lineman Daniel Calhoun is now out for the spring. It's a foot injury. Kirby says nothing major, but it will cost him the next 3 weeks. It's significant because after playing in 3 games last season, his first in Athens, he was expected to be the front runner to take over for Tate Ratledge, the former starter at right guard for Georgia this season. On the coaching front for Georgia, they have officially announced the addition of former North Carolina tight ends coach John Lilly and former Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line coach Phil Rauscher. Matt Zenitz broke the news Monday that they were looking to add those two. Now it is official. Lilly, 30 years of coaching experience, including a previous stint at Georgia, was the tight ends coach there from 08 to 15. And Rauscher, 10 years of NFL coaching experience, has not coached in college since 2014.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Bama's announced the details for their spring game. They're changing it up just like everybody else. They will not play a traditional spring game. Instead, hour-and-a-half-long practice inside Bryant-Denny Stadium on April the 12th. It will be open to the public. It will not be televised. The rest of the festivities around the spring game remain as usual, including the Walk of Champions, the Walk of Fame, the concrete thing, all those things for Bama.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vandy landed themselves a 3-star defensive lineman, Joey Quinn. He was fresh off an unofficial visit to Nashville and pledged to Clark Lee on Wednesday. 6'6", 250 pounds. Chose the Commodores over Cincinnati, Kansas, Kansas State, Louisville, Missouri, and others. Becomes the 3rd commitment for Vanderbilt's class of 2026.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Papers are stuck together. I see why Matt crumples them up and throws them. Tennessee baseball, starting infielder Gavin Keelan, quote, making progress, per Tony Vitello. He made that announcement in his postgame comments after the win over Queens on Tuesday. Keelan has not played in the last 4 games due to a hamstring strain. He suffered, or excuse me, I should say a hamstring injury. He suffered in last week's midweek loss to East Tennessee State. It's been considered day-to-day. It'd be a big one for the Vols to get back. Louisville transfer leads them in numerous categories, including batting average, home runs, RBI. He's also got 4 doubles, 3 triples, and he's drawn 20 walks. He's been awesome through their first 21 games. See when he's back.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
John Calipari on the Pat McAfee Show Tuesday announces that forward Adu Thero will be available for the Sweet 16 matchup against Texas Tech, although Calipari said the most he'll play is 12 to 15 minutes, but you do have to prepare for him now. Junior forward left the February 22nd win over Missouri. did not return. At the time of that injury, he was the Hogs' leading scorer with 15 points per game.
The Texas Longhorns.
Drop the Texas story on the ground. Hold on. Texas basketball sophomore forward Devon Pryor will enter the transfer portal. Of course, the portal for basketball opened on Monday. That news comes from 247 Sports. Played sparingly as a freshman, but this season, after an injury, saw his minutes really increase in the Southeastern Conference. Averaged nearly 20 minutes per game over a 9-game stretch. 5 points, 3 boards. Overall, played in 23 contests, averaged 3 and 2 on the year. 6'9" sophomore entered the portal with a no contact tag, which likely means his next destination is already known. Keep you updated as all of that progresses. That is around the SEC. This is After Further Review on a Wednesday, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Musso in for Moscona. Going to grab a break here. Come back, close out hour number 2. Had a story right there about Alabama's spring game and then making the changes. Of course, LSU's done the same thing. We had a story yesterday about Auburn, and we've been covering the changes on spring games throughout college football really for the better part of a month. Well, you might remember what Deion Sanders suggested, where it was wants to have some NFL-like joint practices, then maybe play a game. Syracuse said, hey, we'll play. They've started petitioning the NCAA. There's some movement on that front that I want to tell you about. And also, another Power 4 coach has suggested to revive one of college football's oldest rivalries in the spring. We'll talk about all that next to close out hour number 1 of AFR. Don't you move.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local. We tell you every single day. Hey, look, I always encourage you to go follow Clegg's on Facebook. They do a great job of updating their content there regularly, so when they get a new shipment of flowers or plants, they generally will post them there. If there's a new product they get, I'll tell you, we had Drew's birthday party this past Saturday, and of course, it's a swim party, it's outdoors, and one of the things that I know I had tremendous peace of mind about is we weren't going to have mosquitoes. They've got the Aeon Mosquito Eradicator. You've heard me talk about it for years. It's like the size of a track baton. You take the top off, fill it with water, shake it up, hang it on your property line. Boom, you're done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time. It's over at Clegg's Nursery. So get them by and say, hey, what's the mosquito thing that Moscona always talks about? You'll find it at any location of Clegg's Nursery.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Brought to you by Parish Restoration. Parish Restoration. I've told you before about Mold Zero Pure Restoration. Now, Parish Restoration, all the same thing. Patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. Parish, Jim Woodworth, who I've told you about for years now. Jim Woodworth merged with my guys Richard Tilley and Ryan Terrio, all under the Parish umbrella. So it's Parish Restoration, patented non-toxic dry fog. It's been actually pretty remarkable to hear some of these stories of people have put out to bid for remediation contracts, and they get the number from Parish Restoration, and they'll call and say, is this number right? And they explain why. I say it often. It is a more cost-effective, more efficient way, and also of remediation, and also because it's a dry fog, you're not cutting sheetrock or pulling out carpet or taking things out of your home or your place of business. They spray the fog, they let it dwell, it dissipates, you're back in free and clear and mold-free. It's Parish Restoration. ParishBuilt.com.
All right, wrapping up hour number one here of After Further Review on a Wednesday. Musso in for Moscona. A couple weeks ago, I told you about Deion Sanders and his idea where he wants to make spring practice more NFL-like. Bring in a team, have a couple joint practices, then play a spring game, quote-unquote, against them. Syracuse, Fran Brown, they threw their hand in the air, immediately said, hey, we'll come play you. That sounds great. And then they sought NCAA permission. Fran Brown gave an update on that today, that the NCAA should pass down a ruling for Colorado and Syracuse by the end of this week. So this actually could be a reality. And it's not just Syracuse who's interested in this along with Colorado. Craig Bohl, he's the executive director of the American Football Coaches Association. He spoke to the Associated Press and said there's a lot of coaches around the country who want to see this allowed for Colorado and Syracuse so they can look at it, see how it went, and see if it's feasible for their program and other programs. So Colorado, Syracuse, they're awaiting the official ruling from the NCAA by the end of this week on if they can play a quote-unquote spring game against each other. Mike Gundy met with the media and said, hey, this is the perfect opportunity to revive Bedlam.
I mean, honestly, for us, we should do a home and home with OU in the spring. I think ours is on, I don't know what the date is, but it's the Saturday prior to the last week, something like that. Okay, so they should come here on the 19th, and I think theirs is earlier in the year. We should go down there and play a home and home in the spring against them. Charge $25 a head. They can use it for NIL. We'll use it for NIL. You know, if they don't want to do two in one spring, we can do one here this year, do it there next year, and split the gate. Because we get tired of practicing against each other. It's not going to be a live game, but nobody really has live scrimmages anymore. So you make it a full thud like we're doing and practice against them, just like they do in the NFL. We're moving towards the NFL. Why not do that?
Oh, Gundy. He wants Bedlam back so bad. So badly. He wants that game back. So here's my thing. I actually love this idea. I actually think this does have some sort of staying power. It's never going to make your year, or you're never going to sell out the stadium or any of that, but you heard him right there. Charge $25 a head. You can split the gate. We can use it for an IL, all those things. When everyone's trying to find different avenues for revenue here with rev share and everything, why is this looked upon as silly in some circles? I don't understand. You see this in basketball. You play exhibitions in basketball before the season. You're able to get, some ticket sales and things of that nature. You see this in fall now in baseball. Those fall scrimmages, you don't charge anything there, but you draw a crowd for all of that. You would absolutely draw a crowd for football, and if you charge admission for it, you can turn some type of profit. Again, I'm not telling you it's going to make your year or anything like that. Of course it's not. It's not even a real game. But you see fans show out all the time for joint practices in the NFL. They want to get a look at their team and one of the other teams in the league. People would absolutely show up. Injuries might happen, sure. Injuries can happen in the spring game. Injuries can happen just regularly in practice with. We just talked about the Georgia lineman who's out for the year, out for the spring now. That's just part of the game. I'd like to see this happen. We'll keep you updated. Hour 2 next.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Center.
I'm Christine Lacy. Duke defensive stalwart Malik Brown could return for the Sweet 16 against Arizona tomorrow. He's been out 2 weeks with a shoulder injury. Coach John Shire called Brown a game-time decision. With the addition of Russell Wilson, the Giants now have 3 experienced quarterbacks on their roster: Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. Wilson is the projected starter. That won't likely prevent New York from taking a quarterback in next month's NFL draft, but don't expect them to take one with the 3rd overall pick, says unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
They're going to add a quarterback in the first 2 days. I just think the opportunity cost of drafting Shador versus taking a guy like Travis Hunter, who could be the best player in this class, taking a guy like Abdul Carter, who is the best defensive player in this class, that's too great to pass up on.
Our Chris Canty. NBA Bucks will be missing another star tonight against the Nuggets, a game important to both teams who are jostling for playoff positioning. Giannis Antetokounmpo is sidelined with a sprained foot. Milwaukee is already without Damian Lillard, who's out indefinitely due to a blood clot in his right calf.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty. Coming up Thursday, it's opening day, and my Yankees will be without a lot of big names, but I'll tell you why I'm still excited for the upcoming season. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Off and running, hour number 2 after further review here on a Wednesday, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Musso in for Moscona. Alondra Villarreal and Paul O'Neill along for the ride as well. We're happy to have you here as well as we kick off hour number 2. We'll really switch over to some baseball talk here. Should recap the ULL game coming up momentarily. Robbie Faulk covers Mississippi State for On 3, hosts the baseball podcast as well. He does great work. He's here at the bottom of this hour to preview the Bulldogs. Ross Jackson at 5:15 to recap LSU's Pro Day. Ross was there. We gave you some thoughts from what trickled out to start the show. We'll go much more in depth with Ross and a little bit more LSU football as well. I want to hone in on the LSU defensive tackle position, something we haven't really done. So we still are jam-packed here for the next 2 hours, and glad to have you along for the ride. All right, LSU baseball. They run rule Louisiana Lafayette a night ago at the box. 17-4 was the final score. LSU put up 9 runs in the bottom of the first inning, highlighted by a grand slam from Bear Jones and a 2-run homer from Cade Arambidi. They sent 13 guys to the plate, smacked a couple doubles, and the game was out of reach from that point. ULL never got closer than 5, and LSU would just keep pouring it on. A 5-run fifth was the other highlight. We'll talk about the offense, but what I was watching that game for last night, what you were watching that game for on Tuesday night, what everybody should have been watching that game for on Tuesday night was the pitching. And I assume that it was. I laid out what I wanted to see on Moose at the Box. Subscribe if you haven't already. Heading into the game where I want to see as many pitchers as you can throw out there. You play 7 innings and run rule them, I want to see 7 pitchers. You end up playing 9, give me 9 pitchers. Like, throw them all out there. Give them 1 inning, keep the pitch counts down, have them all ready to go, even on a condensed week. LSU didn't go that route. I think I actually punctuated that thought on Moose at the Box with, they're not going to do that. And they didn't. I mean, Jaden Newt goes out there, gave you 3, followed by Schmidt, who gave you 2. And then you had a third of an inning from Connor Binge, 2/3 from Chandler Dorsey, and Maverick Rizzi pitched the 7th and closed it out. A lot of those guys were guys you needed to get back out there on the mound, especially William Schmidt, Binge, Rizzi. That was only Dorsey's 3rd appearance. So see what he's got type deal. But there were also a few that I would have loved to have seen. And quite honestly, I'm surprised we didn't see. Connor Ware, DJ Primo. Guys like that, where it's just like, get him as much work as possible. Because the only way LSU is going to improve in throwing strikes is guys being out there in a live game with live bullets, crowd, all of that, and pitching. Now, to get a little deeper into it, when you look at just the box score, you see LSU allowed only 4 runs. They only walked 1. Okay, it's pretty good. Watching the game, watching the pitchers, for me, there was a lot left to be desired. It just wasn't quite the outings that I was looking for from certain guys. Not everybody. Let's start with Jaden Newt. Well, Jaden Newt was very good. He gave up the unearned run in the first inning, and that was really unfortunate because he pitched well enough, more than well enough, to get out of that jam. And Stephen Milam committed a very rare error. Milam's not going to commit many of those, so you'll live with it. Unfortunately, allowed a run to score. That stinks. He'd come back out in the second. He'd give up another one. But I believe, I'll double check this. It was a single, a ground out, and then a double. After that, he shut the rest of the inning down. He got the next 2 guys on 2 pitches total. All in all, 3 innings from Newt, 42 pitches. How about 27 strikes? Didn't walk anybody, struck out 2. Gave up the 1 earned run. That stands out. The 64% strikes, that stands out. And I know what everybody's question is going to be regarding Jaden Newt. Let's answer it. But first, here was Jay Johnson after the game on his right-handed starter.
He did good. He's a good pitcher. It's a nice luxury to have, to be able to throw him for 3 innings on a Tuesday night or 4, whatever he did last week. And, he was efficient. So doing that in 42 pitches was great. It'll be available if we want to utilize him this weekend. I certainly think he's good enough to help us in one of the upcoming games. So I like how that went.
That was going to be your question, wasn't it? Time to see Newt on the weekend? My answer to that is a resounding yes, because you're looking for somebody to throw strikes. That's a guy with plenty good enough stuff, 3 pitches, that he's thrown all of them for strikes, and threw 64% strikes on Tuesday night. That's the 4th really good outing in a row now for Jaden Newt. In his last 4 outings, that's 10 innings, 3 walks, 13 strikeouts. Let's see him take the step up. Now, the pitch count worries me. 42 pitches. You have a condensed week. Jay says they like where he's at, and they think he can help him in one of the upcoming games, and he could be available if that's the way they go. I would look at that and say it's probably Saturday at the latest. Or excuse me, at the earliest. Saturday at the earliest that you would see Newt. I would give him 3 full days. But, yeah, I'm 100% in favor of that. A week ago, after he had his outing against New Orleans where he was so good, I said, let's see it one more time. Let's not get there quite yet. I saw it one more time. That's 4 in a row. I want to see what the kid can do on the weekend and see if he can't help you there because you need help. William Schmidt was next out of the bullpen, and this is one where really all eyes were going to be on, right? And here's what I'll tell you about William Schmidt. For me, he just looks incredibly uncomfortable. He looks like he's thinking too much. I don't really like to use the word mental, but it looks like he's thinking too much. And there's evidence in that game to show you that. William Schmidt's stuff, there's no doubt about it. Some of the best stuff on the team. It's why he was supposed to be a first-round draft pick out of high school, but he ended up here instead. He looks uncomfortable. From the moment he steps on the mound, he looks like he is thinking too much, and he's just not trusting his great stuff. That curveball is incredible. He can't land it for a strike right now. There needs to be a little bit more conviction. It's a word Jay Johnson uses all the time. Conviction in delivering the pitch. And of his 2 innings, he gave up 2 in the 4th and then threw a shutout 5th. And I'll note, in the 4th, not all his fault. He had a pass ball, or what they ruled as a wild pitch. Absolutely a pass ball. It hit Aaron Beatty's glove. That advanced runners to second and third, and then a pitch later, or excuse me, 2 pitches later, he tries to spike the breaking ball in the dirt, and it gets through Aaron Beatty, and that allows a run to score. The problem is after that, he falls behind the next hitter 3-1. The count goes back full, and then he gives up a single to right to chase home the other run. A guy who's thinking, a guy who maybe isn't trusting his stuff much, something like that is the undoing. What really was the undoing was the hit by pitch in a 1-2 count earlier in that inning. That started the chain of events that went wrong for him there in the fourth inning. Thinking. You look at his first outing in the conference against Missouri, where he gives up the home run, walks the next two guys. Ultimately, he gets out of that fourth, but you go back to the fifth, and this is where I really think you can see, all right, yeah, maybe it is just him getting kind of in his own way right now. You end up with a one-out double. First of all, in the fifth, he was behind every hitter except for the one-out double because that was on one pitch. You just get the one-out double, a fly out, then follow it up with a walk. So now you have first and second, 5-run game. Jay Johnson goes out to the mound mid-at-bat, has the mound visit. Schmidt promptly retires the hitter after that. Went out there, calmed him down, said, hey, you got this. You're really good. You're really good. Execute. He did. And the first person out of the dugout to congratulate and celebrate with William Schmidt was Jay Johnson. All of that, really encouraging. Him issuing the only 2 free passes of the night for LSU and throwing 53% strikes, not as encouraging. The 47 pitches suggests if you see him this weekend, that will also probably be Saturday at the earliest, which also tells you LSU setting their pitching up differently going forward here in this weekend. We can talk a little bit more about that later in the show or as the week goes on to Musso at the box. Then you saw Maverick Rizzi. Well, Connor Benj, I thought was fantastic for his third of an inning. He threw 5 pitches, struck the guy out. 4 of them were strikes. He was awesome. Get him out of there. Good, whatever. Chandler Dorsey, some things to still work on, but pretty good all in all for his his third appearance there. He's going to need to continue to just pitch in the midweek and get to where you want him to go. Maverick Rizzi ends up closing the game out, but he was behind every hitter that he faced. Literally, every single one of them. And threw less than 50% strikes in the ballgame. And that's just not going to cut it. You need more than that. The kid is immensely talented. He's going to have a great career at LSU. The more he develops and the more action that he gets. But right now, that's just not going to cut it. You can fall behind like that against ULL. You cannot fall behind like that against Mississippi State and expect to get out of that inning clean. It's just not going to happen. So all in all, 4 runs, 1 walk. Oh, looks pretty good. But there still was not enough strikes from the majority of LSU's pitchers on Tuesday night. And that's just something they're going to have to continue to work on. And they've shown you with how they use some guys Tuesday, they're going to set that pitching up a little bit differently out of the bullpen this weekend. It'll be very interesting to watch. Quick note on the offense before we get out of here. Before we take a break. Look, they were awesome. 17 runs, 11 hits. They drew a bunch of walks. LSU, they did not punch out very much in the ball game either. LSU punched out. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. They punched out 9 times. I guess it just didn't feel like that because they drew 12 walks. You had 3 home runs. Tanner Reeves, Cade Arenbeedy, and then, of course, Jared Jones with the 3-run shot. The story of the ball game, though, was Cade Arenbeedy, the 3-hit night, the 2-run homer, and a couple other hard-hit balls, including a double. He was awesome at the plate. Jay Johnson, after the game, was asked if seeing that from Cade Arenbeedy could lead to him bidding and getting a little bit more time on the weekend.
For sure. I mean, he has played on the weekends. We did in the last, couple. Huge part of our team, huge part of our future. I mean, at that position, you're always only a foul tip away. And so we got him in a bat on Sunday for a reason. And he's done great. Like, he's so far ahead of where I thought he would be as a hitter. And I've always thought he was a great hitter and a great player, but he's so far ahead of where I thought he would be. And he showed me a few things tonight. I mean, the ball was crushed in the first thing. I'm talking about the ABs after that. I actually saw more that is transferable, to better pitching in like the second, third, and fourth at bat of the game. So we all know he's got great power. He's going to be a great player here. He'll be somebody that's remembered here when he's done.
Look, it's very encouraging that the JC's things and the later at bats that he thinks translates to, higher quality pitching. And I fully trust Jay Johnson when it comes to anything offensively. I mean, it's just the guy's forte. He's a great baseball coach in general, but offensively, we know that's his deal. So that's great to see. And absolutely, Cade Arenbeedy, the conversation I had about him all throughout the preseason was He is clearly their best option offensively at the plate. Clearly. But the defense lacks. And while he was having that great offensive night on Tuesday, the defense still lacked a little bit. We mentioned the balls through him in William Schmidt's inning. There was another one later in the game. He's got everything you could want. He just needs to keep working on the defense. And they're going to keep putting him out there. Whether that's on the weekend, I think you'd see that more in a DH role. Probably not catching quite yet. But Jay's right. You are a foul tip away from needing somebody else back there. So they're going to continue to run him out there. And each time, I'm going to continue to be intrigued because he's got everything that you want tools-wise in a ball player. It just needs to keep developing. And when he does, Jay's right. That's going to be somebody who we talk about for a long time after his days are done at LSU. That kid is very, very, very talented. The only thing he's missing is that defensive piece. The more they run him out there, the more chances they'll have to make that come along. LSU, they run rule ULL 17-4 on Tuesday night. That's win number 23, back 20 games above 500. And they will welcome in Mississippi State for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday weekend at the Box, weather permitting. We'll talk to Robbie Faulk, get a preview of the Bulldogs at the bottom of this hour. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. Defensive tackle position, what's it looking like in spring for the Tigers? We'll talk about it next on AFR.
AFR.
If your New Year's resolution as a business owner is going to be to finally become more efficient within your business, to help that bottom line, to help your productivity, let Glow Resources help. Yes, they specialize in skilled blue-collar labor. So if that's what you're looking for, they can help you find the people you need, meeting all the requirements for the specific job that you have. But at Glow Resources, they also have their professional placement division. Y'all, it's so much fun when I go over to Glow Resources. I mean that seriously. Like, one of the things Jareth Knockan has done amazingly well is just building culture. They are fun to work with. When you walk into the office, you'll start just by understanding the design. He had the interior decorator come in and we're like, just go ham. Do what you think would look great. It's pretty amazing. There's a story behind everything in the office. People love to work there, and they love to do business with you. If you need help finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life. So why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
AFR is brought to you by First South Farm Credit. You know where to start. Your first call, your first visit, your first option when it comes to buying land in Louisiana is First South Farm Credit. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be land in Louisiana because First South Farm Credit can help you buy land in any of the contiguous 48. And they've got more than 40 branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So if you're right here in the Southeast, there's First South Farm Credit locations all near you. But remember, like, for example, let's say a lot of our audience in New Orleans, of course. You're living in New Orleans, maybe you're starting to build a family, grow a family. You want to move to the North Shore like a lot of people do. You want to buy the 100 acres in Tangipahoa. You can. And First South Farm Credit can help because they have an office in Amite. So you can walk in there, you can do business with someone who talks like you, lives where you live, and help you buy land wherever you want to buy land in the contiguous 48. It's First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.
LSU football, day off from spring because it's pro day. They'll be back on the practice field Thursday, and we'll get to speak with Blake Baker after practice as well. I kind of wanted to give like a little bit of a precursor there, talk some defense, because, look, a lot of the talk, I feel like, has been safety position, corner, which, again, should be. Back end of LSU's defense struggled a season ago, to put it mildly. And then the rest of the conversation has really been offense. You know, Bauer Sharp and Trey Green, their tandem at tight end. I mean, all these receivers that LSU's got. Of course, Garrett Nussmeier taking the next step is year two as the starting quarterback. And there's one position that we haven't really talked a whole bunch about, and that's defensive tackle. I kind of want to do that here because, I mean, for one, you have a new coach there in Kyle Williams. We talked plenty about that. Haven't really talked about the players at that position. And LSU's deep at defensive tackle for 2025. They're deep and they're large. Those are the two things really stand out that you can't help but notice. There's a lot of them and they're huge. And it's so noticeable because a year ago, they weren't huge. They were deep. They just weren't huge. Of the 10 defensive tackles LSU had on their roster a season ago, 6 of them checked in under 300 pounds. Y'all, that is completely flipped this season. Of the 10 that are on LSU's spring roster right now, 6 of them are 3 bills or more. And Brian Kelly, when he met with the media Saturday after spring practice, was asked about the size on the defensive line, and he said it ain't by mistake.
It's intentional. Sadir Mitchell, he was brought here to bring size to our defense, and he certainly brings that size. Sean Washington is playing at a higher level. His size is clear in terms of what he brings. Obviously, McKinley is got the great size that you're looking for inside as well. And then it's just a matter of getting reps for some of the younger players. Jacobian is going to be back for us. That gives us another very physically strong player that will fit this scheme very well because of his quickness. He's going to be a guy that's going to be in the backfield a lot. So with Ahmad, we feel really, really good about where we're at the defensive tackle position.
Oh, even the younger guys are huge. You heard him say it's sometimes about getting reps for the younger guys. How about Zion Williams, freshman, 6'4", 355. He's listed. Dylan Battle, freshman, 6'2", 315. He's listed at. That is the most stark difference from a year ago with the defensive tackle position at LSU. But when you dig a little bit deeper, you heard him there mention Sadir Mitchell. And he's one of the most intriguing because he played sparingly in 2 years at Texas. But again, that's a guy, 6'6", 355 in the middle of your defense. And this can impact so many different ways. While you have size across the board now, you have a great mix at that spot. Because even some of the guys who are massive are very athletic. And that's going to give you a great mix throughout your 2 deep and maybe even into your 3 deep. So far through spring camp, your first team interior defensive linemen, have been Ahmad Bro and Dominic McKinley. And Bro is the smallest, right? I mean, they have him listed 6'3", 280, played at 285 a year ago, played quite well at that weight. And again, that's a guy who can be athletic and whatnot. You look to him more there than you would, just the big body in the middle. That's more Sadir Mitchell, maybe even Dom McKinley to an extent. But McKinley is the perfect marriage for LSU this season. Of the size, 6'6", 306, down from the 315 he played out a year ago, but the athleticism is what really stands out there. Do you remember Dom McKinley's debut against UCLA? Remember his first tackle in an LSU uniform? It was a sack. He had 7 tackles a year ago. 3 of them were sacks. It's a guy that can get into the backfield plenty, but is also large enough to take up the space and be a more than capable run defender. As a true freshman, Dominic McKinley, big man in the middle, was LSU's highest graded run defender in the defensive tackle room per Pro Football Focus. 69.5. Highest on the team. He was the second highest graded defensive tackle in total on LSU's team. Ahmad Bro was the second highest run defender, 66.2. You have great options there and great versatility. And then you bring in Sadir Mitchell, and he has been flashing in spring practice. You just need the consistency there. But I think you love the 2 deep you're looking at. McKinley, Bro, then Mitchell, and you're going to get Jacoby and Guillory back. You heard Brian Kelly in that cut say he's going to be in the backfield an awful lot. He is an athletic guy, but can also eat the space. 6'2", 320. You're just going to be more formidable up front this year at the defensive tackle spot than you were a year ago. And that gets me excited for a lot of reasons. 1, you should be better defending the run because of that. And 2, the athleticism that you possess for multiple guys can allow each of them to impact the game in the backfield more than you might see from typical defensive linemen their size, typical defensive tackles their size. Kyle Williams, first time coaching in college, he couldn't have asked to inherit a better room. LSU's got dudes up front at defensive tackle. Keep watching it as the spring rolls along. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. Get a preview of Mississippi State. Robbie Faulk joins the show next on AFR.
AFR.
And when it is 94 degrees outside, I can't even imagine spending time outside during the Louisiana summers without a swimming pool. We got one at our house. I'll never own a home without a swimming pool again. If that's your dream, to have a beautiful custom pool built at your home, or if you had a pool that quite honestly just needs some upgrading, needs to be remodeled, you need Duplessis Builders. I'm going to give you the website. It's duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. Y'all listen to this show for long enough, you know one thing about me. Especially when it comes to contractors, I'm never going to recommend to you the guy that's the cheapest. I'm going to recommend the guy that's the best. And that's the case with Duplessis Builders. Derek Duplessis, they're not going to cut corners. They will not compromise building standards to save a few bucks. At Duplessis Builders, they will walk away from a job before they put their name on something that is not to their standard. It's Duplessis Builders. If you are even thinking about building a pool, you owe it to yourself to give Duplessis Builders a look. DuplessisBuilders.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Tigers and Bulldogs, Thursday night at the box, 7 p.m. first pitch. One of the greatest rivalries in college baseball, certainly the premier rivalry in college baseball when it comes to the Southeastern Conference. Robbie Faulk covers Mississippi State for On3 Sports, also the co-host of the Thunder and Lightning podcast that covers Mississippi State baseball. Great listen. He does a great job. He joins us now. Robbie, we appreciate you as always. How are you?
Man, doing just fine. How you guys doing?
We're doing great, man. Doing great. Hoping to dodge some raindrops this weekend at the box and get all three of them in as scheduled, but we'll see how that goes. Robbie, you look up, you see Mississippi State at 16-9, 1-5 in the SEC, and that's just not a spot that many of us are familiar seeing the Bulldogs in. I want to get into why and what's happened, but first, vibe check early in Starkville here, a month and a half into the season?
Not great.
Yeah.
It's been that way, man, for about 4 years. I think people are just kind of frustrated about winning, finally break through and you win the team's first national championship in 2021. And the vibe around the program is that you had finally kind of broken that seal. As you guys know, Mississippi State has great tradition, has great fan support, great players have come through, some really legendary players and coaches. They had never won a national championship. And then they finally got one. And it felt like this was just the beginning, and they followed that up with a losing season. And then they followed that up with another 9-win SEC season. Last year, they kind of got back on track a little bit, but there were still some frustrations because people felt like they could host, and they ended up being a 2 seed in Charlottesville and an exit there. So the pressure has been they need to host this year, and right now they're also a 1-5 start, and it really is kind of baffling because the stats don't really match start. They've been really good on the mound, and they've been better at the plate, and yet they're also 1-5 start. So I think people right now are just really, really frustrated and kind of tired of it, to be quite frank.
That's exactly where I was going to go next, because when you, like you said, when you look at the stats, I mean, it looks like Mississippi State is the quintessential better than their record team. So what is it with the 1-5? Is it, would I be oversimplifying to say, hey man, you played 2 top 10 teams to start. Now you got another one down the pipe, but you played 2 top 10 teams. How much of it is the competition that's led to the 1-5? How much it is maybe something else?
I think it's the fact that this team they always seem to find ways to lose in those close ball games. They did find a way to win on Friday night against Oklahoma, and it was a valiant effort from Pico Khan, who he threw probably his best game as a Bulldog and was SEC Pitcher of the Week. You got just enough offense, and your pitching was really good to win that first one, and sets you up for a great weekend to get that Friday night win and get a great pitcher in Kyson Weatherspoon. But then the next day you have 5 errors in the first 2 innings, and you have some walks, and that's just what this team does. They have base running blunders. They have miscues in the field. They have an opportunity with the bases loaded and 1 out, they hit a double play, or they have runners in scoring position, they can't get them home. That's been the Mississippi State thing for the last few years, and it's been especially the last 2 years. You have opportunities to get wins, and you just don't take care of the little things. So while they played good teams, I think they could have won any of the 3 games against Texas. And really, they could have won any of the 3 against Oklahoma, although Oklahoma went, I thought, and won the ball game on Sunday, what they were doing at the plate and taking advantage of small ball and things like that. It was just Oklahoma doing a really good job and going to win it. But State really gave the game away on Saturday, and they gave 3 games away against Texas, just not playing winning baseball.
Talking with Robbie Faulk. He's on Twitter at Robbie Faulk on 3. Covers Mississippi State and does a great job with the baseball team as well. Robbie, tell me about Pico Khan.
Yeah, just a guy that has always looked like he had the stuff, but freshman year ran through a little trouble at times. He showed some promise. Sophomore year, he's got Tommy John. He misses the entire season, and he's kind of rehabbing that last year, and he gets back in there, and I thought by the end of the year was pitching really well. Kind of a low-key guy. He's not going to be really outspoken or anything like that. He kind of just goes about his business. He's found something with Justin Parker. Justin Parker's kind of unlocked it all with him, and he's been really, really tough to knock out of a game. Not going to walk a lot of guys. He might get behind an account or something of that nature, but when he gets to 3-2, he's just going to battle, and it's very difficult to rattle him. He got into a little bit of trouble early against Oklahoma, and then when he settled in, he retired 8 straight with strikeouts and 10 straight overall, and eventually he struck out, I think, 10 guys in innings and gave up 2 hits and no runs. So it's going to be a mid-90s fastball. The slider has been really good lately, and he's been a tough guy for teams to figure out. He's really blossomed into a Friday night guy when a lot of people this season didn't think he could do it. I think Justin Parker has done a really good job bringing it out of him.
What about the rest of the rotation? I know they had the change after the trip to Houston, I believe it was, for the Astros College Classic, putting Ben Davis into the rotation, moving Stone Simmons out. How do they feel about Saturday and Sunday on the bump?
Yeah, I would have said several weeks ago that Carson Ligon is not going to work on the weekend. He was struggling with control, specifically struggling with whenever he's throwing his fastball and leaving it across the middle of the plate, allowing teams to really tee off on him. He's actually been solid the last 2 weeks, especially for a Sunday afternoon guy. He's come in there and he's eaten up some innings. He hadn't gotten you beat. He's left the ball game with a chance for you to win the game. So I think Carson Ligon for now is fine on Sundays. The question is what they're going to do in that game 2. And Ben Davis has not been good in the first 2 SEC games after showing some promise. He actually pitched on Tuesday night out of the bullpen, so I don't know what the plan is yet. You know, Stone Simmons started the year on Sundays. They've moved him to the starting rotation, and he actually has been pitching out of the bullpen some. So I don't know what the plan is for the weekend, and I don't even know yet what they're going to do with Pico.
Yeah.
Whether he's going to match up on Thursday or Friday. So we're kind of sitting around waiting. It's getting kind of late, but we're kind of waiting on that rotation to see what it looks like.
I was going to ask you that if they were going to keep or if they wanted to keep Pico on the same rest and match him up on Friday or on Thursday with Cade Anderson. All right, well, we'll wait and see what happens there. Let's talk the offense a little bit here, Robbie, because, you know, again, looking at the stats, it looks like they just do a bunch of things well. I mean, they can hit for average. They got a little bit of pop in the lineup. What is the strength of Mississippi State's lineup this season?
I think they have just gotten a lot better at putting together quality at bats. That's been a big concern for this offense over the years. It's like they just don't battle at the plate. A lot of strikeouts, a lot of, you know, first pitch pop-ups, things like that. This offense has been so much better at taking a more detailed approach and kind of sitting there and waiting on the pitch and things like that. They've put together a lot better at bats. Last year, there were so many holes in this lineup. I mean, you had Hunter Hines and Dakota Jordan to be really seeing it, to feel good about your lineup. And there was a time late last year that they weren't, and it was just kind of disastrous for Mississippi State. Well, this year, there's so many other guys, and the lineup is deep. And on the bench, it's deep. We have people wondering why 3 or 4 different guys on the bench are not playing. And the issue really has been the fact that some of those guys, when they're in the game, are defensive liabilities. So it's been trying to find the right lineup and the right pieces that also make sense for you defensively and make sure that you're doing the things you need to do defensively. But as far as the depth of the lineup, it's as strong as it's been in a long time here. And even down to the 9-hole, you feel really good. I mean, State's usual 9-hole is shortstop Dylan Cupp. He leads the team in walks, he leads the team in OBP, and he leads the team in quality at bats and the amount of pitches he takes. So it's a really good lineup so far, and they haven't had a long period of drought in the middle of a ball game, if that makes sense. They've really been a consistent lineup.
Sounds like y'all are having some of the same conversations over in Starkville that we're having here in Baton Rouge with the lineups. Like, man, you got 12 guys. So how are you gonna fit them all in there at one point? Why isn't this guy starting? Why isn't that guy starting? All right, so maybe we're expecting some runs here this weekend. A couple more for you, Robbie. Your time appreciated. You just mentioned the depth of the lineup, and that's good because it's kind of where I was going to go next. Noah Sullivan, Ace Reese, Hunter Hines. Of those 3, which one should concern LSU the most?
I would say Noah Sullivan is the most complete hitter out of that group. He can hit to all fields. He puts together the quality at bats. He has some power too. The most dangerous guy in the lineup, if you make a pitch, is Ace Reese. He's one of those. He can send one well over the intimidator if you give it to him in the breadbasket. But he's also a guy that can strike out, and he's a guy that can hit into a double play or two. Hunter and Ace are going to, I imagine you see a heavy shift on them when they come up to bat. But if either one of them get a hold of it, it goes a long way. Mm-hmm. With Sullivan, I think he's a guy that can really beat you with 2 outs, with 2 strikes. You can't really shift on him. You can't get in a certain position because he's a quality at bat, just really has a pro approach. So I would say that would be the guy that's the most dangerous out of those three.
Last one for you. 1-run game in the ninth. Who's getting the ball at the back end?
Ooh, that's a good question because I don't know who's in that spot right now. I think the other day against Oklahoma in that game, it was Luke Dotson, who's a left-handed pitcher, sophomore, that has really developed, I think, the last year or so, and from a mental standpoint has really gotten a lot better. He came in and closed that game out in the final 2 innings. That's probably who they're going to turn to late in the ball game. If it's a 1-run game, he's nailed down an inning, it's probably going to be Luke Dotson coming out of the bullpen in the ninth.
He is Robbie Faulk on Twitter, at Robbie Faulk on 3. Check out the Thunder and Lightning podcast as well for any more information you might want on the Mississippi State Bulldog baseball team. Robbie, we appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the weekend series, man. We'll do it again soon.
Yes, sir. Same to y'all. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Again, that is Robbie Faulk. Some good information there, man. You know, I was looking over Mississippi State earlier and at some points last night as well, kind of prepping for Musso at the box. And hearing him talk about the lineup and the depth and the strength of is their quality at bats, it definitely showed out. This team, they strike out probably around the middle of the pack in the SEC, but they draw some of the most walks in the league as well. It's just a team that, I mean, it is, said it there in the interview, Robbie, is the quintessential do not get fooled by the record. They are really good. They just have to figure out how to, as Robbie said, not find ways to lose ball games. Look, LSU went through something similar at the beginning of last year where, man, it felt like they were right there ready to win, and instead they lost for a variety of different reasons. Eventually, that type of team is going to catch fire in the game of baseball. You just hope it's not this weekend for Mississippi State. LSU throwing strikes is going to be a huge, huge part of that. Jay Johnson did talk his rotation when he met with the media today. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the 5 o'clock hour. Right now, we'll grab a break. Come back on the other side. We will close out hour number 2 of AFR on a Wednesday with Tigers and the Pros. That's next. Stay here.
After further review.
Rouse's, official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Man, you know, like, if you're driving on I-10 from, like, Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, there's like 70 Rouse's. No matter where you are, there's one near you. So if you need to make groceries for your mom and them, you go to Rouse's. You want to save money, you know what you do? You go to Rouse's.com or download the Rouse's app. Or you know what you do? You look for the little weekly ad right there, see all the different special items, all the sales items, how you can save money over at Rouse's. Need dinner plans tonight? Don't have dinner plans tonight? Don't feel like cooking? No worries. Let Rouse's take care of it. They got something for everyone in the family. Their hot bar is fantastic. Hot and boiled seafood options. They've got grab-and-go sushi. Go make your dinner plate. It's Rouse's. Something for everyone there. And, of course, all your adult beverages, everything you need for the entire family. It's Rouse's. This feels like home.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, Our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
So we were just talking with Robbie Faulk, getting a preview of Mississippi State. We were talking about the rotation. He said they were still waiting on it. Well, now it's been announced. LSU released it in their Mississippi State's rotation in their game notes that they sent out. Familiar name starting that Thursday game. And, folks, it does not invoke pleasant memories. We'll get to that at the top of hour number 2 when we talk, the top of hour number 3 when we talk LSU's rotation. For now, though, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Terrace Marshall Jr., free agent wide receiver, former Tiger, looking for his new home. Few options. On Tuesday, he visited the Steelers. And now, today, Wednesday, Marshall is visiting the Tennessee Titans. We'll see where he lands again. Former second-round pick of the Panthers, spent 3 seasons in Carolina, last year with the Raiders. 43 games in his career, 67 catches, 808 yards, and a touchdown. Still looking for his next destination, his next home in the NFL. Major League Baseball opening day is Thursday. 8 former Tigers on opening day rosters. As a matter of fact, I wrote a piece for LouisianaSports.net on opening day and where you can find all the former Tigers. Go check that out. It's free, LouisianaSports.net. They are Paul Skeens, who's getting the opening day start for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Dylan Cruz. Remember, Cruz got called up in August of last year, played in, I think it was 31 games. He'll be on the opening day roster. DJ LeMahieu, opening day roster for the Yankees, although he is dealing with a calf strain, so he might not play on opening day. Alex Bregman, opening day roster with the Boston Red Sox. He'll play third base, and they'll win the World Series. Aaron Nola with the Phillies, Gosman with the Jays, Josh Smith with the Rangers, and, of course, Jake Fraley with the Cincinnati Reds. Opening day, one of the best days on the calendar, one of the best days in spring. That is Thursday in Major League Baseball. That is Tigers in the pros. All right, coming up on our break here to end hour number 2. 2 hours, man. It's flown by so far. We have some LSU baseball to get to as well. Ross Jackson will be here at 5:15 to update us on all the goings on at LSU Pro Day. He was boots on the ground. So jam-packed hour 3 next here on AFR. Stick around.
After further review.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lacy. Duke defensive stalwart Malik Brown could return for the Sweet 16 against Arizona tomorrow. He's been out 2 weeks with a shoulder injury. Coach John Shire called Brown a game-time decision. NBA, in addition to not having Damian Lillard, the Bucks will be without fellow star Giannis Antetokounmpo tonight against the Nuggets due to a sprained left foot. Lillard's sidelined indefinitely with a blood clot in his right calf. A tough spot for Milwaukee, but its season is not over, believes ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
I feel like every series that they're going to go into, starting in the first round, they're going to be the underdogs. And disrespecting Dame and Giannis and calling them the underdogs is going to light a fire up under their that the league can't handle. I still have Boston winning the Eastern Conference. Yeah. But Dame comes back with Giannis as the underdogs. They're my dark horse in the Eastern Conference to come out.
Bucks up percentage points on Detroit for 5th in the East. LeBron James probable for the Lakers against the Pacers tonight. Coverage tips off in 1 hour on ESPN Radio and ESPN.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive is here for all of life's needs, with protection for your home, auto, business, and more. From timely repairs to customizable coverages and payment options, we make it easy. See if you can save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right.
Off and running hour number 3 after further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Musso in for Moscona, Alondra Villarreal, Paul O'Neill, both along for the ride. Glad you are as well. Just knocking off work, hopping in your car. Thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday. Been a great show so far. We've talked some LSU football, Saints, talked a lot of LSU baseball. We'll talk a little bit of that here momentarily again as well. Ross Jackson will be here in the next segment. Of course, LouisianaSports.net, Locked on Saints. He was boots on the ground for us over at LSU Pro Day. We'll get all the ins and outs, who stood out, who the Saints might be looking at from LSU, things of that nature. So stick around here for that. And of course, we've got Auto Locks to wrap the show as well. I want to make sure we leave plenty of time for Ross, and I have a lot that I want to say on this conversation we're about to have about LSU baseball. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. All the conversation about LSU baseball right now is centered on the pitching staff. Whether it's the bullpen or the starting rotation, that's the talk everyone wants to have. And for good reason. And when I say it's, the bullpen, in my opinion, and not only just the bullpen, the inability to throw strikes for LSU is what is holding this team back. It's not everybody, but it's a majority, and it is what is holding this team back right now. I don't think that's breaking any news. I don't think anybody's really going to disagree with me there. From the moment the season started, and I don't know if it's just because of the depth that we've all talked about on this staff, all the elite stuff that we've talked about on this staff, and again, part of it is just, this happens every year, but from the moment LSU wrapped up their first weekend series, people have been trying to change the starting rotation. Kate Anderson can't get you deep in the game. Oh, then it was Anthony. From the moment, everyone's been trying to change the starting rotation. They've stuck with it throughout, now 6 weeks through this thing. Jay Johnson was asked, again, because you look at what happened a week ago at Texas, Anderson shoved. He has solidified himself as a number 1 Friday night ace, no doubt. Ianson gets you into the 5th, but can't get you through it. Chase Shores has his struggles once again and doesn't get you through 4. So, rotation is going to be a big question mark. And Jay Johnson was asked on Thursday when he met with the media, on Wednesday when he met with the media, about his rotation.
Safe to say that it's probably going to be the same 3 guys this weekend.
That's the plan right now. Yeah, that's the plan right now. I have more to work on with them, but that's the plan right now.
That was the plan. That is how it's going as well. LSU has announced the starting rotation. They will keep it the same order. Cade Anderson will just move up a day. He will pitch Thursday. Anthony Ianson will pitch Friday. Chase Shores will pitch Sunday. This is the right move. And I'll explain why I so steadfastly believe that. I know folks want to see Zach Cowan moved into the rotation. There's even talk, can you move Kason Evans in there? I will tell you the same thing, all of you listening, that I have told anyone who has asked me that. And you can go find this because it's either in the YouTube comments or on Twitter, everywhere. My response to that is, who do you give their bullpen spot to? And there is no good answer. LSU is not in a position to make a change in the starting rotation until others emerge in the bullpen. Jay Johnson will always pitch one of his best guys in the bullpen exclusively. Riley Cooper, Griffin Herring, like those are your examples here at LSU. Kason Evans, Zach Cowan, they fall into that. Until you have others emerge, you cannot afford to take away your top bullpen arms. You have two of them right now, and they have to stay there. If you can give me a good, proven option to take their spot, then we can actually have that conversation. But nobody's been able to do that. You could say Jaden Newt. Jaden Newt isn't proven. I want to see him on the weekend out of the bullpen, but he's not proven. So it is the right call there. I want to talk about Anthony Ianson and Chase Shores. Over the last, not even a week, this started Saturday after the game on my live stream, Musso at the Box. Anthony Ianson, to me, and again, I think the evidence supports this plenty, is Ty Floyd from 2023. He is. Different stuff. I mean, Floyd was much more, fastball up in the zone, high 90s, slider changeup off of that. Ianson's 4 pitches, fastball mid-90s, things of that nature. But it's the same result, if you will. Throughout the entirety of the 2023 season, Ty Floyd, folks were just trying to replace him in that rotation. And all Ty Floyd did throughout the entirety of the 2023 season was continue to go out there, pitch well, keep LSU in every ball game. And LSU won 12 of his 17 starts. He didn't get the win in all of them, but LSU won 12 of the 17 games that he started. 12-5. Pretty good. And in the end, that worked out really well in Omaha, didn't it? Anthony Ianson has done that all year for LSU. He's had some struggles. He's given up some runs. But he has gone out there every week and kept LSU in the game and given them a chance to win. And the one thing I want to see from Ianson, and it's not really from Ianson, it's more from their plan. I want to see them let him go. Jay Johnson talked after the Missouri series about, because everybody's like, Ianson didn't make it through 4 innings. Jay Johnson talked about it in his postgame. He said, we wanted him to get through the lineup twice, and then we were probably going to the bullpen anyway. And he was one batter away from doing that. The kid hit the homer. That's not what I thought they'd have Anthony Ianson do. And a week ago at Texas, he gets you into the 5th. He's a ground ball away from getting out of the inning with a 3-run lead, and he's at 78 pitches, and they pull him out of the game. I want to see him pitch like you let him earlier in the year. Y'all, if there was ever a game for the quick hook on Anthony Ianson, it was against Nebraska when there were 11,000 people in the stand. He gave up 5 runs through 3 innings. They let him go. He got stronger as the game goes on because that's what he's done all season long. I want to see him get that opportunity in conference play because I just don't think he's been afforded that yet. And if he gets stronger, we're all going to feel great about it. If he doesn't, all right, you go back to what you were doing. But either way, I don't think he's coming out of the rotation because he goes out there, he throws strikes, he pitches well, and he keeps LSU in the game and gives them a chance to win every time they're out there. Let me get to Chase Shores. And look, if y'all have listened to me any point from last summer to right now, When I've talked about Chase Shores, I have preached patience because that is a kid who came in with 18 and a third innings in college, and I have likened it very similarly to Gage Jump a year ago. And once you hit the midway point in conference play, Jump was full bore, awesome. He was your Friday night guy for the rest of the year. I don't think he went. I think the only time down the stretch after starting with that Missouri series that Gage Jump didn't go 7 innings was when he was used in relief in the region. Every other time he either went, I think he pitched into the 7th inning or completed it. So you're going to have to be patient there. But, and there is a but, you do need to start seeing signs from Chase Shores. Like, at this point in the season a year ago, you were seeing signs from Gage Jump. He was going out there and pitching into the 6th inning against Florida. Right? Like, you were like, okay, there it is. Now you just need the consistency. You need that there it is moment from Chase Shores. Because right now it's been just a lot of inconsistency. Where, he was much more in the strike zone Sunday against Texas. The slider looked a little bit more crisp, which was great. But he got knocked around, and the fastball, the sinker, was actually a little flat. Before that, it was the walks that were getting his pitch count up and whatnot. You need efficiency and more consistency. You just have to start seeing signs because the stuff, y'all, is plenty. Like right now, if LSU was going to make a change in the rotation, it would be that Sunday spot. I do believe that. Because that's such an important game, and you have to have reliability there. You don't have to, but it gives you such an advantage when you do have reliability in the game 3 spot. That's what we all thought Chase Shores could be, and he still can, and he probably still will be. But I really want to start seeing signs that's coming. So I'm A-okay with them sticking with the rotation. For one, the options you have right now hamper you in other areas. You can't afford to do that. Because no matter how great those others have been, there's going to come a time where they get shelled too. It happens to everybody. And if you move one of them into the rotation or both of them into the rotation, then you leave yourself with no options out of the bullpen. But I like the move. I think it's the right move. I'll be interested to see how each of them functions moving a day up. And it'll be really, really telling because LSU's got to set the pitching up a little differently out of the bullpen. They've already showed you that with how they used things Tuesday night. For Mississippi State, they are going to pitch. I don't want to say pitch off, but technically pitch off. Pico Khan's going to pitch game 2 on his Normal West Friday. Carson Ligon will move up a day from Sunday to Saturday. Ben Davis is out of the rotation. This should be a familiar name to everybody. Evan Sierry is going to start Thursday night against LSU. Just brings back horrible memories. While Alondra, you had his line from the game a year ago. What was his line from the game a year ago?
3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout.
He made some huge pitches in that ballgame. LSU got him, but he made huge pitches. Then whoever they brought in after that just carved LSU's lineup. Nolan Stevens, yeah. Who, by the way, Nolan Stevens is hitting like 350 for Mississippi State this year. He has moved much more towards a offensive role, and he's hitting the cover off the ball. But he carved LSU a year ago. Just seeing Evan Sierry at the front of the rotation kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies because it just did not go well for LSU in Starkville a year ago, and I'm hoping that that's not a bad omen. If you remember, Sierry, he's a righty. Nothing is straight. Like, it's not overpowering stuff, but nothing he throws is straight. And he was forced into that role a year ago with like an 80 ERA because there was an injury to Dome, their Friday night guy. So, gotta say, just for the feel-goods, could have went without seeing Evan Sierry at the front of this rotation with State coming in. But LSU's a much different offense than they were a year ago as well. And even that offense a year ago did have success against Evan Sierry. That's going to be interesting to watch Ianson match up against a Friday night guy, a real one in Pico Khan. All right, we got to grab a break. Ross Jackson from LSU Pro.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries. Action, INC.com for Action Industries Incorporated. Had a great lunch a few weeks back with my buddies over at Action Industries. It was Chuck, Chad, Jordan, Erica. We had a great lunch, actually over at Curbside right there on Government Street. And we talked a ton about turnarounds. The turnaround season is March through October. You know that. But it's so important now that if you know you'll have turnarounds coming, I mean, it's inevitable when you have turnarounds coming around the springtime, that you keep the advanced turnaround group front and center. At Action Industries, the Advanced Turnaround Group, still the same great company that's been around for 42 years at Action Industries. But the Advanced Turnaround Group is a division of Action Industries where they have assembled a core group that has built their career around turnaround execution. It's over at Action Industries.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
LSU had their pro day on Wednesday over at the indoor practice facility. We gave you a few details that kind of trickled out to start the show, but I wasn't there to actually see it. So let's talk to somebody who was. That, of course, Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net, and Locked On Saints on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. Ross, we appreciate the time as always. How are you?
Hey, man, doing great. Glad to be here with you. Thanks for having me on. It's great to be able to enjoy the great city of Baton Rouge for a little bit today.
Yeah, there you go. Are you still here, or have you headed back to?
No, I already made my way back to New Orleans.
Okay.
Not that I was in a hurry to leave Baton Rouge.
Hey, man. Depends on the day sometimes. All right, let's talk LSU's pro day. First, Saints contingent in attendance. I saw Mickey Loomis. Who else was there from the Black and Gold?
Yeah, General Manager Mickey Loomis, as well as Assistant General Manager Kai Harley, were around. Director of Pro Personnel Michael Parrington was in attendance as well. A couple of coaching staff members as well. You've got run game coordinator new to the team, and TJ Paganetti, who was there. You also had Brian Young, who's been a longtime coach working with the defense, specifically the defensive line, former Saints defensive lineman himself, who's now the assistant defensive line coach. He was present. And then the Saints also had a staff member there, Ted Rath, who's their new director of sports science. Those are the ones that I saw and were able to identify. That might not be the complete list, but still a pretty sizable contingent there with all the different pro days going on today on Wednesday.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Is that normal? Like, is that the normal size of a contingency that the Saints would bring to LSU?
It's a pretty good size. I mean, obviously last year was really unique, right? I mean, you had, big-time names like Brian Thomas Jr., and you had, of course, Jaden Daniels and all sorts of stuff. So it's going to always depend upon the class and everything. But I would say that that's a pretty good size contingent based upon the fact that you also had the Ohio State Pro Day going on, the Boise State Pro Day going on. So several high-profile ones or high-profile prospects in the Boise State example kind of going on at the same time.
Yeah, if there's one pro day we know the Saints aren't going to miss, it's Ohio State. I mean, it's like their home away from home, Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
All right, let's talk about some of the guys that showed out today. Who was the guy that created the most buzz that everyone gathered around, that everyone just had to see out there today at Pro Day for LSU?
Well, I'll tell you what, Mason Taylor, the tight end, was obviously a guy that a lot of people had eyes on. He came out there, ran his 40, hit 4.65, I think is the official fastest that LSU had posted. I do believe that some folks had, 4.59. This is always kind of the thing about pro days is you get a lot of different stopwatches, you get a lot of different times and everything. But it seems like the official number that's going right now is 4.65. We'll see if that adjusts. But I'll tell you what, 28 bench reps when he was out there. His movement in the short shuttle, his movement in the three-cone were both impressive as well. Measured in great, massive 79-inch wingspan, so that's going to show a lot of teams catch radius, all those other things. 6'5", 246 pounds as well in terms of his measurements. So he came in at prototypical, NFL tight end size. So he would probably be the guy that the most people gathered around for, and he did not disappoint. I think there were a lot of eyes on Kyron Lacy as well. But I do want to shout out running back Josh Williams, who put on a show. He ended up blazing with a 4.45 40-yard dash, I believe, in terms of confirmed times, the fastest 40 that we saw today. But added to that, a 42-inch vertical as well as a 10-foot 2-inch broad jump, so showed you the explosion as well. Then went up at 5'8", 196 pounds, and put up 23 bench reps. He outbenched a couple of offensive and defensive linemen through this year's process. And so I thought that he was really, really impressive as well.
I was going to ask you about Josh Williams because, I mean, Ross, you dive into the draft incredibly deep. Did you have a grade on Josh Williams before you saw him today at LSU Pro Day?
I did, yeah. I kind of looked at him as like a late day 3, potentially priority free agent guy because he didn't get a lot of, didn't do a ton during his time in college. And I don't mean that as like he didn't, he wasn't productive or anything. He just didn't have a lot of opportunities, right? He had 117 carries last year, and before that he had never broken 100 carries in a season. So he was one of those guys that you look at and you went, okay, you like the speed, you like a little bit of what you see on the tape, but he has some things that are kind of underdeveloped and stuff like that, which is commonly the case when you're a collegiate guy going into the NFL. You don't have a ton of touches. I think he's got just over 300 total carries in his career, if I remember correctly. And some guys get that in an entire season, right? Yeah. And but with those testing numbers and things like that, like he might have moved that, at least that undrafted free agent floor up a little bit, depending on what this does when it sends people back to the tape. That's always the thing to remember with this, is that like these scouts, these coaches, these people that are in attendance, these numbers don't make you draftable or undraftable unless they're dramatically disappointing or dramatically surprising. But what they will do is that they'll send you back to the tape to go and confirm what you saw in the testing. And so if the game speed matches what the testing speed was, then that might be something that ends up kind of working in his favor. He might have done himself some favors today.
314 career carries for Josh Williams at LSU. Look at Ross.
Nailed it.
Yeah, told y'all. I mean, just dives in as deep as anybody. I did when you brought him up, because I was absolutely going to mention Josh. I mean, it was hard to miss the numbers that he was putting up today if you were on Twitter or X at all. I do want to go back to Mason Taylor though, because I know that's somebody that maybe could be an option for the Saints. Is that realistic? Do you think?
I don't think it's unrealistic at all. I mean, I think a lot of people are pointing to, well, they just paid, $10 million per year to Juwan Johnson, and that's fine. But after this year, guys like Foster Morrow as well as Taysom Hill, they're in contract years this year. And so drafting this year in order to be able to develop a tight end to maybe take a larger role in 2026 is not the worst idea at all for the New Orleans Saints, especially in Kellen Moore's offense, which loves an all-around tight end, and that's kind of what Mason Taylor does. He checks all those boxes. He can block, he can run routes, he can catch the football, all these other pieces. I think that he's definitely still somebody to watch for New Orleans. They might have to burn a second-round pick on him now as opposed to a third-round pick, but we'll certainly see how things move for him. But, yeah, I think he's a realistic option for them, even with the investment in Juwan Johnson.
All right, Will Campbell. Ross, have your arms ever grown in 2 weeks?
Yes, but I think that was a long time ago.
Yeah. I kid, obviously. Well, measured in at 33 inches. I mean, what's the story there though with Will? I mean, 32.58 at the combine, 33 at LSU's Pro Day. That's gonna raise some eyebrows, but they cleared it up.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is something this is another one of those things that happens. And really, if we did more than one scouting combine in the NFL, even if it was an NFL-sanctioned event 3 times over, you're probably going to get 3 different measurements on a lot of these guys. It's a different person measuring. It's a different strategy. It's the same strategy of measurement, but, I mean, goodness, like, there's always going to be something a little bit different. And, look, depending upon, we've seen guys grow their hands. Wasn't Jalen Milroe's hands grew between the Senior Bowl as well as the combine and stuff like that, a little bit of hand yoga, like all these things do make a difference. And so, look, I think the bottom line when it comes to Will Campbell is that the conversation and the concerns rather around his arm length, this is just another one of those sort of annual conversations that happen. Joe Burrow was questioned for his hand size. You've got other offensive linemen. I think it was Peter Skorwanski who was questioned about his arm length, if I remember correctly. You look at Will Campbell, like these guys all end up getting into the league, and then they play the position that they play one way or another. And I promise that the arm length, unless it's 29 inches, is not going to be too short for a guy like Will Campbell that has the kind of talent that he has. I applaud him for his comments as well when he was kind of talking about it. Kind of standing up for himself a little bit. But I think 32 and 5/8, 33 inches, both of those cross a 32-inch threshold. That's what you're looking for an offensive tackle. And sometimes even coming in below that, you'll find productive guys in the league.
It is something that literally only matters from February to late April
100%.
Every year.
No one asked this question at all throughout his entire – he was a bona fide top 15 pick, top 10 pick. And now all of a sudden you're telling me that in March you've changed your mind because I thought he was going to be 33 and a quarter. Like, come on. Where's the real line here?
He allowed 2 sacks over 3 years. There's a couple inches on the arms. I don't know anymore. Kyron Lacy, I did want to ask about that because look, obviously there's the off the field that's going to be hashed out in his interviews and things of that nature, and we'll see how that impacts his draft stock. How did he look on the field today? Because it's been a while since any of us have seen Kyron Lacy. I mean, since the Oklahoma game, because he missed the Senior Bowl, wasn't at the Combine, didn't play in the bowl game. How did Kyron Lacy look?
Yeah, I mean, he had a pretty decent day. I think maybe folks would have expected a little bit more when it came to his 40-yard dash. You clocked in originally, the timing was showing like 4.5, 4.51, but then that time has since changed to 4.6. So it's going to be interesting to see what it looks like once that 40-yard dash gets updated. Vertical leap of 33.5 inches. And then he ran a short shuttle. He had to restart his short shuttle. I think he ran it about 4 times before he finally kind of got it under. But I think that's one of those things that kind of shows you a little bit of tenacity from him, right? Like, I screwed up here, I screwed up there. Let me take a break. Let me come back. Let me try it again. Okay, well, I got it. You know what I mean? And I liked seeing that. I thought that was a good kind of display of his, no, I'm going to get it. I want to go out there and do it. I liked seeing that personally, and I think that's something that will stand out The other stuff in terms of the off-field stuff, which forgive me, I'm not super knowledgeable of, so I won't comment on it too much. But, like you said, those are going to be things that are going to get hashed out in interviews and all that other stuff, and then whatever other processes that exist outside of the world of football will happen, I'm sure, too, or whatever that all is and stuff. But in terms of what it is that he brings to you as a potential, I don't know, day 3 wideout, maybe he finds his way into day 2, depending upon how those interviews go, top 30 visits, visiting with other teams, private workouts, stuff like that. Like, he's got a lot of opportunities to raise his stock, but I don't think he hurt himself, depending upon how that 40-yard dash time ends up being viewed by some people. But again, these numbers send people back to the tape. They look at the tape, see what they can confirm, deny, whatever it might be, and then they continue to move forward from it.
Couple more for you, Ross, and I very much appreciate your time.
Of course.
He's not draftable this year. He's going to play quarterback for LSU, but Nuss was out there throwing. Any googly eyes out there for him yet? And did he put on a good show so far, just in the early audition?
Yeah, it's funny when you asked me the first question when you were like, who are the people that gathered around? They got gathered around for him, that I almost mentioned him just kind of as a joke, but really, like, seriously, I mean, he got a lot of attention, and I think that was a good thing for him to go out there and go out there and throw, let people get eyes on him again a little bit early, all that. Obviously, like, him and the New Orleans Saints are going to be inconsistent, are going to be a part of a bunch of consistent conversations over the course of this year, because the future at quarterback has big question marks for New Orleans right now. And Doug Nussmeier, Garrett's dad, is the offensive coordinator here in New Orleans now and everything. And, Doug was a quarterback here in New Orleans, drafted by the New Orleans Saints back in the 90s. And so, it's going to be a cool story. And so I think a lot of people are going to be watching for that. And so I would expect the 2 names to pick up the most steam in terms of the New Orleans Saints sphere over the course of the next year are going to be LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, and then, of course, Arch Manning, right, over in Texas. And look, we don't know if Arch is actually even going to come out next year. And so, but Nussmeier will be out. And so I think that an opportunity there for him and the Saints to keep in constant communication to an extent, whether Garrett likes it or not, considering his dad's an employee. I think that, like, those things are going to be continued heated up conversations all throughout the year.
Last thing for you mentioned earlier in our chat, the Boise State Pro Day and the Ohio State Pro Day as well had contingents of Saints brass and coaches there. Anything that's maybe trickled out of those 2 events that you could pass along that maybe caught the Saints' eye?
Yeah, I mean, there were some reports, and I've confirmed elsewhere that, Kellen Moore spent some time chatting with Will Howard, quarterback that is going to go, that will be going into draft out of Ohio State. Fits a little bit more of like the prototypical quarterback, pocket passer type in the league and everything. And so he's an interesting later round option. And when I say later, I just mean like mid to late round. And so, he ends up being a day 2, day 3 guy if the Saints end up, doing what they've done the past few drafts, which is take a swing on, a 4th or 5th round quarterback. Then all of a sudden, like, Will Howard enters that conversation. And so he would definitely be one to kind of keep an eye on. I would watch out for guys like Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle. I think he put up like 33 bench reps during his time. And I mean, just absolutely outstanding. And by the way, Garrett Dellinger, let me shout out Garrett Dellinger real quick. 30 bench reps during his time, 5'10" on the 40-yard dash. I mean, that dude actually showed up quite a bit too. I should have highlighted him earlier as well. But one big thing to watch coming out of Ohio State is Tyleik Williams. Tyleik Williams, while running his 40, went down with a knee injury. Obviously, defensive line continues to be a focus for New Orleans, so that's going to be an injury to kind of monitor going in. And then Boise State, I mean, Joel Thomas, New Orleans Saints running back coach, was out there taking in the Boise State one. I wonder why.
Yeah.
But that's all I did. It's got Ashton Genty written all over it.
Why would they send the running backs coach to Boise? Huh? Man, interesting plan of attack. Ross Jackson is who he is. Ross Jack on Twitter at Ross Jackson. LouisianaSports.net. Go there, read all this stuff. He's gonna have all the pro day coverage, plenty more draft coverage, and of course, listen to the Locked On Saints podcast as well. Ross, we always appreciate it, man. It's great to chat. Thank you, and we'll do it again.
Always a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Again, that is Ross Jackson. We're due for a break. But first, Matt's going to tell you about South Point Volkswagen. No,
Matt's going to tell us about Supper Club.
Supper Club. Matt's going to tell us about Supper Club.
Yay.
We're brought to you by Supper Club. You can book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. One of the things about Supper Club that I love is if you want to go to Supper Club and be a baller, you can do it. You want to go to Supper Club and order a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild? You can do it. You want to go have $400 shots of cognac? You can do it. You can have experiences at Supper Club that usually are reserved for Las Vegas and New York and Paris and Abu Dhabi. Like, that's here in Baton Rouge. But the thing you got to remember as well, if you want to go to Supper Club and have the best steak of your life and have a few appetizers, a dessert, bottle of wine, you can do it as affordably as any other restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is unmatched. Introduced open seating at the bar, first come, first serve. So if you knock off of work, you want to head by Supper Club, you can walk in without a reservation, see if you can grab a bar stool or a table by the bar as well. Have a great dinner, maybe cocktail, close some business. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
All right, due for a break here. Got 2 more segments left. Otter Locks to close out the show. Plenty more to come here on AFR Wednesday shows presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Musso in for Moscona. Stay here. More next.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but none of it, I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house and they come talk to you, they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life. So why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
All right, wrap it up. All right, wrap it up. We got another segment. That actually going to be Otter Locks. Excited about that, man. Sweet 16 getting underway tomorrow in the men's tournament. See if Otters, we'll have some plays for us tonight. Let's actually see if they're posted up at louisianasports.net yet. Yes, okay. Otter Locks are posted up at louisianasports.net. Got a couple NIT plays and an NBA play. So we'll let Otter go through those when he's here with us to close out the show, as well as see if he's got anything for us in the early Sweet 16 games tomorrow.
I got something for you.
You got something for me?
Because we were talking, like, what are we going to talk about here?
Yeah.
And you were wanting a little bit of basketball, right? Or no?
Kind of, a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Arkansas, are they
The Hawks?
this year's Cinderella since no mid-majors made the Sweet 16?
Yeah.
In this new NIL era.
See, I have a hard time calling any team coached by John Calipari a Cinderella. Not sure why it just brought me to that. That's not what I was trying to go to on my computer. So that's tough for me. They are a 10 seed, so I get it. And they started 0-5 in the Southeastern Conference, so I get it. But, I mean, they got lottery picks on that team, man. Like, no, I cannot get behind Arkansas as a Cinderella. They're playing really well right now, which is encouraging. I mean, should be a heck of a game between them and Texas Tech. That's actually the nightcap. That's the late game Thursday night. The Red Raiders are a 5.5-point favorite in that one. So, I mean, that should be interesting and a good one to watch. But, no, I mean, they've got lottery picks. Like, I would consider, and again, maybe I'm off base on this. I don't know much about their team. But, I mean, I look at BYU, and I'd be like, that's kind of more. Like, I mean, they're a 6 seed. And, look, they were actually the first team to punch their ticket to the Sweet 16. They've got good players. But, nah, I'm not going to get behind Arkansas as a Cinderella. That's why we needed Colorado State, Alondra. We needed Colorado State.
We needed McNeese.
Well, we did. Purdue had other ideas. I mean, that game was over early. But, I mean, you know, Colorado State could have been, they were a 12 seed. But then again, they were like everybody's favorite to be the Cinderella. So, like, that doesn't even kind of count. But
Bill Bender poses the question, where was Cinderella? Where was the madness?
Yeah, she was probably looking for a slipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she found it.
There really was no madness this year, was there?
No.
There's been some really good games, though.
I don't know.
There's been some really
I
good.
have no
No,
idea.
there's been some good games.
No, I legit do not know.
Oh, you just haven't watched it?
I have not watched a second of men's college basketball this season, like at all.
Okay.
At all.
I always watch the tournament.
I watched a little bit, like when LSU played Texas because it was on TV.
Yeah.
But I really have not paid attention to any men's basketball this season.
I get it. I get it. I mean, it's not the best product.
No.
At college basketball in general, especially if you're used to watching the NBA or something, it's just far inferior. But I love the tournament. And there's been some really good games. The UConn-Florida game in the round of 32, that was Sunday. It was a fantastic basketball game. Great second half in that one. And then you know, Dan Hurley was whining about things.
Oh, wait, I saw that. But I saw it like on the internet.
He just doesn't.
I don't
lose
even
in grace
fully know what he said. Was it about the refs?
No, yeah, kinda, because he like Baylor was in the game next, and they were sitting in the
He
stands.
said something to
Don't let
yeah.
them punk you like they punked us, Baylor, or something like that. It's like, dude, you won 2 championships in a row. You're. I mean, UConn's a blue. Like, you're a blue blood. Like, what do you do? He just. No one likes to lose. Okay, I understand that. No, there's no player, no coach, no fan that likes to lose. He just doesn't lose very gracefully at all.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because he's a great coach. Like, he really is. He's a very, 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 very good coach. How many of the Sweet 16 teams from the SEC make the Elite Eight? Now, there's 7 teams, but 2 of them play each other. Kentucky and Tennessee play each other. So you can only get 6.
4.
4 out of the 6.
Mhm.
Okay. So half the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
2 in the Final Four.
And 2 in the Final Four.
1 in the championship.
Let's see. I think I was going to go 5. I think you could see 5. I don't know if Ole Miss has it in their bag to beat Michigan State, although the Rebs are hot. Obviously, Tennessee or Kentucky will eliminate one of each other. I like Auburn against Michigan. I like Florida in their game against Maryland. I like Bama against BYU. It's really going to come down to Arkansas. Can Arkansas beat Texas Tech? That could be your 5th one.
I don't know.
Potentially there. So 4 or 5.
I don't know how good Tech is.
4 or 5. They're 3 seed. I haven't watched them all year, admittedly. Of course, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I haven't watched a lot of men's college basketball. But
I mean, we're in the abyss over here.
Yeah. You mean the hometown team going 3-13 doesn't get you going? That doesn't move the needle?
Not really.
All right.
Doesn't do much for me.
Okay.
It does absolutely nothing for me.
I can understand that, actually. So we'll see. I think that is an interesting question. The other interesting thing that I would want to see is, can Tennessee finally get one over on Kentucky? Kentucky beat them twice in the regular season.
It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
I've always said it.
There you go. You're not alone. You're not alone there. So I don't know. I guess that's kind of just a little impromptu Sweet 16 deal to watch. I am curious in the Kentucky-Tennessee game and to see how many the SEC can get in. It's been the best league all year. And I mean, Lord, they've got 7 teams in the Sweet 16, which is damn near half of it. So they've acquitted themselves quite nicely. Everybody, first day, they're like, oh, the SEC has a losing record in the first round. No, it was first day of the tournament. You end up with 7 Sweet 16 teams. The depth of your league, pretty darn good. All right, we'll grab a break. Come back. Jimmy Ott, Otter Locks, to wrap up the show next on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Gents, it doesn't matter what your age is. That age is a number. It's about how you feel. You remember what it was like when you were in your 20s or your 30s and you woke up in the morning, you had tons of energy to go to work, to play with your kids in the yard, to get to the gym, to feel vibrant. And as you age, you don't feel like that much anymore. It's harder to lose weight, harder to get motivation to go to the gym. You wake up feeling sore or tired. Maybe your love life isn't what it was. It doesn't have to be that way. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. And at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, there's never any contracts, and they have the lowest prices. You can get to start feeling better for as low as $125 a month with no contracts. It's Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit them online, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
All right, wrapping up hour number 3, wrapping up the show here on a Wednesday. We'll wrap it up with Auto Locks.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance. Now's the time to get that AC unit checked before it really gets hot. Normally $179, just $79 when you mention Auto Locks. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
So we turn to the one and only, the Yacht Father, Jimmy Yacht. Otter, how's it going?
What's up, Moose? How you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic, man. Been a good show, putting a button on it. All right, Sweet 16 starts tomorrow. I want to get to that, but what do we have for tonight? NIT, NBA, what are we looking at?
One NIT game, and we're going to the American, and it was UAB was one game short of making a field of 68, and they got tripped up by Memphis, but they have been red hot. Really nice win on the road at Santa Clara, which is a really good team. They beat Gonzaga earlier this year, so they went out to the Bay Area and beat them. Now they're on the road again, and that's part of it, Musso. The home court advantage has not been the same in the NIT that it usually is throughout the regular season. So we got double play on UAB, plus the points, and also on the money line.
And remember, by the half a point where you still can to the whole number. All right, so UAB in the NIT.
Yeah, and then, help me out, Moose. I'm doing yard work.
Indiana Pacers.
The Pacers. We have decided to postpone the J.J. Redick coronation of the czar of basketball just a little bit short, so they could get a little bit above 500. They played pathetic defense the other night. This was the biggest concern. Orlando just lit them up 2 nights ago. Now they're at Indiana. Indiana has been winning. They haven't been covering a whole lot, but they have been winning. You know, it's always going to be a little extra circle on your spot because those are hard pressed. I mean, in the regular season, it's pretty mundane. But we like the Pacers here, plus points at home. I mean, better team at home. I'm going with the Pacers plus the points. Beat the Lakers outright.
All right, Otter, we'll obviously talk to you tomorrow before the Sweet 16, but any little teaser you can give us on what you might be looking forward to tomorrow and Friday?
Well, we'll give you all the games tomorrow.
Okay.
Friday, I'm trying to think of the schedule in front of me, but obviously it's the SEC. Does Ole Miss, their hot shooting against North Carolina and Iowa State, does that sustain? You know, history tells us it won't, but hey, I'm a big believer in Chris Beard. I saw them in person, in Tuscaloosa, beat Alabama outright. And, hey, man, I thought they were a Sweet 16 team. Here they are. Pagula, man, Padula, he's a tough cookie, man.
1 minute remaining.
Spot. So I like him taking a big shot. That's a real interesting one. The public, the world is on Michigan State. They covered 12 of their last 13. So 2 great coaches going right there. And then I think Florida is going to smash Maryland. So both teams had a scare. I like when you have a scare, kind of resets your focus. But the stronger team and the depth is no question. Maryland has no bench. Florida goes 10 deep. So I like Florida really put it on them. And I don't think BYU is, they benefited from the altitude in Denver. Okay. Also a non-rested Wisconsin team. I like Alabama there.
Okay. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We're at the new location of Sammy's Grill, Old Perkins Road near Airline in Prairieville.
Y'all get over there and see Hanny and Ott for live at lunch. Otter, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Good luck, Moose.
Good luck. All right, that's going to do it for us here on a Wednesday edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Clinic. Matt's back tomorrow. Stick around for that.
AFR.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream.